So great you could be with us again. I'm joined by Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a James Beard Award nominee. The group includes Where We Are, Church Key, where it all started, downstairs Birch and Barley, in Georgetown, The Sovereign. Greg, it is always great to see you.
Happy New Year, bud.
Same to you. Happy New Year once again. What is on tap this week?
Well, you know, in the DC area, we are blessed to have just these kind of random drops from amazing brewers we don't tend to see beer from quite as much. And recently, Fremont Brewing Company out of Seattle, Washington, sent a bunch of beer to the DC area. So this is the time, if you're out and about, if you're not doing dry January or something like that, and you're looking for some delicious rare beers in the DC area, check out Fremont Brewing Company. We are going to start with one of the most celebrated barley wines in the U.S. This is called Brew 3000. Ooh. It is a 13.2% English-style barley wine, long-aged in bourbon barrels.
Oh, wow.
Rich and thick.
Yeah. Figgy.
Toffee, toast, figs, yeah. And to me, the best barrel-aged barley wines will accept some of the flavors, not just of the barrel, which you get here. You get that slight vanilla, coconut sweetness. You get some tannic dryness that goes nicely with the noble hop bitterness. But also you get a little bit of oxidation, you know, like the fig-like quality you mentioned, that kind of port-like aroma that comes through, that nuttiness, almost a sherry-like flavor, comes from the oxidation that occurs when, you know, beers age for extended periods of time in oak barrels.
And you said this is 13.2. Now, I would never make fun or suggest someone shouldn't take part in dry January if they want to. However, you could do dry February.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. Yes, and that is hard. And now, you know, we were just talking about it. Bell's typically comes out with Hop Slam in February,
and
this year it's in January. So if you would pick dry January based on that, you may have to rethink. Now,
I grew up in Seattle. We've talked about that many times over the years. I actually lived in an apartment in the mid-'90s. 5-minute walk from where the Fremont, where the brewery is, Fremont there in Seattle.
In the neighborhood, yeah.
They're just a great brewery. They're consistent. They have an IPA called Inner Urban. That when I get out there, it's like a Sierra Nevada beer. If I'm in a cooler at a gas station, and that'll work.
You can count on it. You know, Fremont, it's great.
You know, it'll be good.
And that's what a cool thing, I mean, about this brewery is that they are a distributing brewery. They're a production brewery that has a great tap room too. But like, they produce solid hop-forward beers, and then they produce these cult barrel-aged beers. I mean, some of the BA barley wines like Brew 3000 and Brew 2000 and 1000 and their Imperial Stout, their variants, these are beers that people are rightly excited for every time they come out. This came out in March of 2019. It's drinking great now, but I think this will drink great for years to come. And speaking of which, you know, I mentioned earlier, they send a bunch of beer in. We have some great drafts from Fremont on at Church Key right now. Craft Beer Cellar, a wonderful bottle shop in Washington, D.C. on H Street, is going to have a whole array of barrel-aged bottles like this, including this, available Saturday, January 11th.
Yeah, I just got an email from them before we were setting up
about the feature.
So, yeah, that's great. So cool. now they don't. Fremont doesn't normally distribute out here.
No.
But they send some special shipments sometimes. Just for you, or just for you and a select
Craft Beer Cellar, just very small, little bit of drops, just to keep the excitement going. And I think that's what's so cool about the beer industry today is people, you know, we know it's rotation nation. We know people want new things all the time, and so it's fun to get a little bit of Fremont, slake your thirst for now, but keep you thirsty for the next drop that comes. Were they to send Inner Urban out here consistently, it might have trouble competing against so many of the local brewers that do that. So I think the great model, Fremont does it, and you know, DC Brow does it here, is to, you know, make sure your local market is all set with standards and rare offerings, and then, you know, to kind of shoot out a little bit of beer to other markets when you have the liquid.
Well, this makes me want to sit by a fire and curl up on the Barca Lounge. What would you pair it with, though?
Well, it's fun. It's fun to do a classic beer like this on Beer of the Week. You know, so often we're doing more of the modern styles. You know, like the pastry stouts and the fruited sours.
The creamsicle tasting ones.
Exactly. The hazy IPAs, the sweet. And those kind of call for some like more, I don't know, like sometimes adventurous pairings. But when we do classics like this, I like to think of classic pairings the most classic barley wine pairing is with blue cheese, Stilton, English barley wines, and Stilton cheese, Gorgonzola, any number of the amazing blue cheeses that are made in the U.S., including a lot that are made out in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon. I mean, Rogue Creamery, their blue cheese won, I think, Best in Show at the World Cheese Championships last year. So Pacific Northwest blue cheese and this BA beer is going to be amazing. Desserts of all kinds, creme brulee, pecan pie, flourless chocolate cake, cheesecake, going to marry very nicely with this. And then for food, steak au poivre, you get that spicy bite against the sweetness of this. You could do duck with cherry sauce. Just beautiful lamb chops, I think, would be outstanding as well.
Fantastic. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you, buddy.
Everyone, be sure to always do drink responsibly, and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another beer of the week.